Hi, hello, good morning. This is the ongoing saga of the property that I am renting and the floor. Now, I have been putting a lot of posts on social media. Some of them have obviously had positive feedback, and some of them unfortunately haven't because things have been lost in translation. Now, this is actually a rented property in the private housing sector, which means that the law, when protecting tenants and also landlords, is different to if you are renting a property with it, a housing association or from your local council. Now, the problem I've had with this kitchen is that it is actually an extension of the rest of the house. Right, so my boiler is flashing. That's because I've run out of gas. That's because I have to keep putting the heating on to try and absorb the moisture that is constantly in this property, especially in the morning when I wake up. So, for example, this window would always be covered in condensation because this is one of the coldest rooms in the house. So this is actually an extension of the property. It's one of the main reasons, other than the fact that I was lucky enough to get back into the rented sector, that I took on this property. Now, this wall that you see here with the electrics, that is actually the main wall to the house. So this originally would have been the external wall to the property, and this is an extension. So straight away you can already see that this, even though it is now an internal wall but would have been originally an external wall, is shot to shit. Excuse my French. And it is this wall that is actually, believe it or not, holding up the upstairs of the property. So straight away you can see at the bottom of this wall, the foundations are completely crumbling. Now, originally I was not going to lift up any more of these tiles because I haven't had permission from my landlord to do so, but I wasn't comfortable with the gentleman that they sent round about a week ago now. And the reason I wasn't comfortable is because my landlord has had my phone number. It's been the same number for the past 8 years. It hasn't changed. He's got the number of my guarantor. And they have not been giving me 24 hours notice before turning up to the property. And my son has gone back to school today, but he's had chickenpox. He has literally had the virus for 4 weeks. He had a severe outbreak. He had to go on antibiotics. And we were waiting. On the day I got a knock at the front door, I was waiting for a call back from my GP to see whether or not I had to take him to the surgery. But because chickenpox is a contagious virus, they just basically telephoned a prescription to my local pharmacist. But again, because of the severity of my son's illness, because it was a contagious illness, and because he was so ill, to have somebody knock on the front door unannounced, no ID, no business details, they didn't even know who I was, they didn't even realise I wasn't the landlord, I was actually the tenant of the property, literally with no PPE. And there's been a lot of mixed I'm trying to think of the word. Opinions is the word I'm looking for, as to whether or not for somebody to come into this property and to fix it or to remove the flooring, should they be wearing PPE. Now, I've got my Wellington boots on. I'm not wearing a face mask, but I have got the back door open for ventilation. And I only come in here when I'm doing a video or if I need to. Now, I have lived here for 8 years, and the amount of upper respiratory tract infections I have had, so basically coughs, colds, sore throats, is probably because of the way that the flooring looks underneath. Now, when I rented the house, here was where the fridge and freezer were, and they are now over there. So the fact that there has never been any floor in this property, so where I'm standing now, this is what it's always been like for the past 8 years. I never put any floor tiles down there because it was hidden underneath the unit, just like you can see there. So this is kind of where the false, like the carpet, the tiling that has been used has stopped. And the moment I lifted up my carpet tiles, which are these ones here, this is what it looked like underneath. Not straight away. The flooring itself, which is over here, was above it. You can see how much, I've actually been told it's dry rot now, not black mould. But again, I don't know, I'm not a specialist. And as the concrete came apart, you can definitely see that there are some pipes. Now, again, a lot of people have been saying they could be gas. Some people have said they could be electric. But the thing is, I don't know. Okay, this is not my house. I didn't put them in. And the fact that they are the other side of this wall, bearing in mind, this is the original external wall to the property, is a little bit worrying. Now, my boiler, if we just sort of follow that along, is there. So my boiler is by the window. The pipework under the boiler is in the cupboard. And I know that it runs all the way under here, through the wall. So the pipework itself runs through this wall over there. If I just show you. And the other side of that wall, there is a radiator. And then further along is a cupboard full of pipes that I believe are to my upstairs central heating. So straight away, this, just trying to think whose bedroom's at the back. Yeah, my son's bedroom is at the back, and I'm just trying to think how his bedroom is laid out. Now, there is a radiator in my son's room, which makes me believe that potentially these pipes lead to my son's radiator. However, I know in the cupboard, which I don't allow the kids to go into, there is pipework that looks like it's already been capped off. So I have no idea what these pipes are or what they lead to. The only other appliance that would use, that would be connected to my boiler, but again, it would be on the hot water feed, I believe, is the radiator, which is here. And again, that is in the kitchen. And you can see that some of this has already been boxed in. And they're copper. So I'll just put that back. And they go all the way up to the top. And I believe they may be capped off. Because if I'm thinking correctly, I don't know why they would be capped off, but they are kind of what leads to, I think, the pipes in my son's bedroom. But again, I do not know. I'm not 100% sure. My main focus in this house, believe it or not, wasn't even the floor at first. It was the sink. This is a brand new unit that my landlord put in himself. He hasn't put it in correctly. The washer is completely splayed. This is the old original sink. Environmental Health told me that he doesn't need to put in a new one. It doesn't matter if he gets it from a reclaim yard. a tip, as long as there's a sink in the kitchen, it doesn't matter. This is his attempt of putting in the new unit. And again, this is a huge bacterial trap because he hasn't sealed it correctly. Oh, that's really hurting my ears. And then underneath, he siliconed the unit together and the whole thing has completely collapsed. And again, that is what the external wall of the extension looks like. To completely relay the floor, the washing machine would have to be unplumbed. And again, you can see where the water has ran down and there is an electric socket there, which again is my biggest worry. And again, no flooring. So I have forwarded these photos to my landlord and to environmental health again. And hopefully I will get a response today as to how they are going to move forward with fixing the problem. A lot of people again have said, why are you doing these videos? Well, for starters, this is an old house. This is an old end terraced. So if you are lucky enough not to end up in the rental market and you then decide to buy a property, these are potentially some of the issues you may encounter. Whenever you go into a property and you inspect a property, straight away you might think, oh wow, this property is absolutely amazing. It's really, really beautiful. You know, this is the paper on the wall. It's obvious that the landlord or the previous owner has really taken the time to, you know, redecorate and to maintain the property. It's not until you take away the painted veil and then you start having to look at the electrics or the pipe work, or, you know, you get a burst pipe and then the flooring starts to disintegrate. They've actually had it where people have bought brand new properties, and this is the main issue where I live, because I live in Nuneaton, which is an ex-coal mining town. And a lot of these new houses that are being built in Nuneaton are actually being built in and around where mining shafts are. And so far, touch wood, no one I'm aware of has had this happen, but I have read cases online of people that have bought brand new properties, moved in, and within a few weeks, a sinkhole has opened up under the house and they've lost half the property. And all they're told is, well, tough shit, it's your own fault. You should have got the house surveyed. There's also been issues where there's been bindweed. There was loads of bindweed in this garden. There was also, and it was also in the pipes. So again, I've made sure there isn't that anymore. Japanese knotweed is the one I was thinking of. People have actually had it where they have bought brand new properties or old houses where there has been Japanese knotweed growing near the house, and then it's got into the foundations. Once that happens, I believe it means that your house is no longer insurable. So there is a lot of things that can go wrong with a property, whether you own it or you rent it. But at the end of the day, this is an environmental health issue. I'm very lucky because the kitchen is separate to the rest of the house. If it wasn't, then I couldn't have stayed here. I don't care whether I could have been rehoused by the council or not, because the rest of the house downstairs is literally like one room. They have knocked the walls out, and it's a through lounge where the kitchen would have originally have been. My next door neighbour's properties is exactly the same. And if the concrete has already started to disintegrate near the door to the rest of the property. My worry now is, has it disintegrated further into the house? So at the moment, obviously, my main concern is getting the kitchen sorted. And once that has been done, the rest of the property can be battled one room at a time. Now, I know for a fact that my landlord has already told Environmental Health that if I was to move out tomorrow, he would completely gut the house, which is what's been happening next door. The thing is, I've lived here 8 years, and a lot of this could have been prevented if my landlord, when the first pipe burst in this kitchen, had taken the matter serious. The first time I reported subsidence, now I'm going to have to go out of the house for this one. So this is external, and all they've done is covered it in concrete, and this is the back door to the property, which you have to step up to, and this is the wall. I have done videos of this before, but these cracks, if we then go back into the house, are internal. So already those cracks have come through into the property. Just shut the door a second. All of this is completely rotten. This is how he has fixed around the window that for 8 years wasn't even sealed, and it's still not sealed. But the biggest crack in the whole of this building is this one. And I've never noticed that before until today, but that looks like it could be wires to a previous spotlight, but I don't know. Ugh. So yes, this is my main worry, because as I just want to say one more time before I hang up, that this wall that you see here is actually the main external wall to the property that holds up the upstairs of the house. The room I am standing in is an extension. So again, if you are looking at having an extension to your property, make sure it's done correctly. Thank you.